Everything you desire is waiting for you to claim it. There's no creating involved, only invention through imagination and building through action. You are at the center of all your desires, dreams, and achievements. Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast that's all about your success, achieving your goals, building wealth through your business, and building your most passionate, powerful, magnificent life. Discover ways to use your purpose to connect you to serving others and living your dreams. I am Pat Council, and I know you are built by design to win. And it all begins with knowing how to tap into your success energy. Let's get on the path of discovery, decisive action, development, and unwavering dedication to your life's calling. It's time to embark on a transformative journey where your deepest passions become your most rewarding achievements. Embrace your power to shape your destiny, because this is your moment to do life with power. Hello, Power Up Nation. I am Pat Council, and let's talk about how we make goal achieving hard. Sometimes we make goal achievement harder than it has to be. We have these grand visions, these great ideas, and we really see it in our minds how we want things to play out. We see ourselves with whatever it is we desire, whether it is better health, a better relationship, more wealth, no matter what it is, we see it in our minds. This is how we decide to turn it into a goal. We think it, we see it, and we get excited about it for the moment. But you know what? Somehow, as things go along, sometimes we have a tendency to make things harder than it has to be. So why do we do that? Because if your mind is accustomed to achieving on a certain level, first of all, you will find it difficult to go to a higher level. As a matter of fact, this is my thought on what fear is. Fear is that thing between where you are and where you desire to be. It's that feeling that you get as you start to work to climb to another level. Because in order for you to achieve whatever goal you set, you cannot stay the same. You have to go to that next level. This doesn't mean we hear a lot about making changes. It doesn't mean you're necessarily changing, but you are allowing yourself to evolve. You are allowing what's in you to come to the forefront. So I want to share 3 concepts that will help you realize if you're making your goal achievement harder than it has to be. So we're kind of addressing these things right up front, you guys. As I said, this is the year to get in the mix in 2026, and getting in the mix is all about you becoming more involved in your life, paying attention to your life, and doing what it takes to get to where it is you desire to be. This is about mixing it up. In order to make things become better, we can't let them stay the same. So that means we've got to mix it up a bit. So let's get right into it. First of all, one of the ways that we make goal achieving harder than it has to be is we convince ourselves that we're not capable. We are excited in the beginning, you set the goal, and then all of a sudden reality, or your reality that you've created in your mind, hits, or I should say a type of reality, which in fact is not real. It is an illusion that you created in your mind about how weak you are, what you're not capable of. Anything that tells you that you're not strong enough to follow through, it is an illusion. So how do I know that? Because the scripture tells us to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. And it tells us to bring those thoughts into captivity. And so this is how I know that anything that tells you that you are less than, that you are not capable of achieving something, that it is a thought that you must cast down. So when this is happening, what's going on is you are allowing fear to dominate. when in fact, the object of the game is to let love dominate, to have that loving relationship with yourself. A lot of times we talk about how much we love our family members, that children, spouse, friends, and we even talk about things that we love. Oh, I love that show. It's so great. But it is very seldom that a person says, I love me right where I am, just how I am today. I love the skin I'm in, all of that, the body that I'm in. I love my life. I love even the mistakes that I make. Do I like them? Absolutely not. But I love the fact that these are learning tools that are teaching me to do something different, to do something better, so that I can rise to a level that takes me to something more. So when it comes to you making things harder than it has to be, you have to cast down those imaginations. And when I talk about the fact, or I shared that the scripture said that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, this is saying that if something is saying that you are not good enough, that's against the knowledge of God. That's not against who God made you, or that is against who God made you to be. And that's the object of the game, is you have to recognize that, wait a minute, I am in fact made in the image of God. So, hey, he's put some power in me. Okay. And so when you start to acknowledge that, you start to embrace that, now you're excited about who you are. You're excited about who you were designed to be. And then you finally recognize, oh, so that's what Pat's been talking about when she keeps saying that you are built by design to win, because it's how you're built. And I think because we have that slogan that you're built by design to win and that you're here to do life with power, I think sometimes people think that means you shouldn't make mistakes, or you're not going to have some challenges, or you won't fall a few times. Well, you will. This is how we learn, because there are things perhaps that we should have learned or could have learned when we were younger, but even our parents and guardian didn't know to teach it to us. So as a result, life's going to teach us. Why? Because you're built by design to win. And so if you're on the wrong track, okay, you're walking in a direction that's taking you away from your highest and best self, your highest and best life, then yeah, you're going to run into some challenges and it's going to deter you. Nothing causes a person to stop doing something or to deter and turn around than pain, more than pain. Emotional pain, physical pain, ouch, that hurts. I'm not sticking my hand on that stove again. Okay, so, oh my goodness, I was with the wrong person, or this person, and oh, emotionally, my heart hurts. Okay, so guess what? You're going to do a better job when it comes to choosing a mate. So think about these things. Don't allow anything to convince you that you're not capable, that you're not good enough. Okay, don't allow fear to dominate. I know people who've been in relationships and or had things happen to them, and they go, okay, I'm never going in that direction again. And sometimes, depending on what it is, you are meant to go in perhaps a similar direction, just not that direction. So do some soul searching, spend a little bit of time with yourself, and you'll be surprised as to what comes out. Let love come forward. As I said, we convince ourselves that we're not capable, and that means we're allowing fear to dominate, when in fact love should reign supreme in us. Don't let anyone convince you that you don't have what it takes. You are very capable. If it's your idea, if you're excited about it, if this is a goal that you are passionate about, it doesn't mean that you have to know all the answers. Don't worry about the how. A lot of people try to go, okay, I'm not going to do this because I don't know how. No, if it's something you're passionate about, and if it's going to serve not just you, but the greater good, I promise you the how will come along. And I mentioned this in a previous podcast, but the how, that's God's job. That's his job. So that's the first one. The other thing is we spend too much time learning and less time doing. This is how we make goal achieving hard, much harder than it has to be. We go, okay, I don't know enough. I don't know enough. Yes, sometimes we don't know enough. Okay. But here's the thing. The object of the game is for you to learn and take action. Learn, take action. Learn as you go and just get out there and get something done. Now, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't just jump out there. I want to say completely blind. And I don't have all the answers to that because there's some people who just, follow the ideas, follow their imagination, do what their spirit tells them to do, and bam, it works out. And then there are other people, it takes a little bit longer. Okay, because you have to understand it all depends on the calling, it all depends on the purpose, it all depends on what the goal is. But no matter what, the object of the game is for you to never ever spend too much time learning, just learning. As I said, learn some, do some, learn some, do some. This is the beautiful part about coaching. When you have a coach, you learn some things, but you also have to do some things. And because that's why there's accountability. And each time you have to do something. And if you get it done, you're going to move forward. I find that the people that have coached, the ones, as I always say, who do their homework, they continue to move forward and they become just so excited and so surprised about as to what they are capable of achieving. And that's the exciting part about things. That's the exciting part about their lives and them making that choice that, you know what, I am going to learn, but I'm also going to work. I'm going to do something, learn and work as I go. Okay. Or learn as I go and work. Or both. So that's number 2. And here is the final one that I have for you. Thinking that we need someone else's approval. This makes goal achievement a lot harder. A lot of times people always want someone else's opinion. And I can tell you, you don't always need someone else's opinion. There are times when perhaps you want someone else's opinion when you're a little bit stuck. But when you come up with a goal, when you have an idea, when there's something that you desire to achieve, then and the idea is coming from your spirit. I can assure you, if you accept the task, if it's for you, if it's connected to your purpose, if it's connected to your gifts and talents, does that mean you won't have some challenges? Absolutely, you will. However, one of the things that will cause you more challenges and poke holes into your self-esteem and your confidence is always looking to someone else to say, okay, now you're doing great. Now you're on the right track. Yes. Do we need to be affirmed sometimes? Yeah, we do. As human beings, we like someone to say, well done, or you're doing a good job. We like to hear that. But the other side to that coin is if you need that kind of approval all the time, and I can tell you, I've met people like that, who always wanted approval from someone, and they would have these grand ideas. I mean, beautiful, wonderful ideas. The idea comes from the spirit. Who is man to think that he can kind of intercede and tell you that's not a good idea, or I wouldn't do that if I were you? Okay, if it's not hurting anyone and you feel in your heart of hearts that this is what you're called to, step out and do it. Just go ahead and do it. So what happens if it doesn't work out? You're going to learn what does work or what will work out. You will learn something. If this is for you, it will not be in vain. But we live in this society where everybody needs someone else to tell them, how great they are, how pretty they are, and how perfect they are. Or it's okay if you're not tall. It's okay if you think you're too tall. Oh, no, you're perfect. It's nice to have people say nice things to us, but at the end of the day, when it comes to you achieving your goals, make a decision and move forward with that decision. You don't need anyone else's approval. This is something that I often share sometimes when I'm, depending on what group I'm talking to. And I always share, you guys do realize that you're all adults. If you're an adult, you have that calling. Each and every person has the calling that's been placed in them. And I can't tell you, I've talked to, and this has been over several years. Every now and then I will run into someone who they have a desire, they have a dream, they have a goal, and they're passionate about it, and they believe this is their calling. but then but my mom doesn't want me to do that, or my dad doesn't want me to do that. This isn't about them. It's no disrespect to them, and you're not being disrespectful if you are honoring the gifts and talents that you've been given. Well, God is first, then your parents or whoever, your spouse. But if you're putting them first, this explains, and I've seen it, you guys, this explains why there's chaos and why that person isn't happy and why they're doing things that they shouldn't do, and why a lot of the things that they set out to do, it doesn't work well. It doesn't work out because they're chasing an outcome to make someone else happy, to get someone else's approval, to make someone else like them, to make someone else love them. It doesn't work. I can assure you of that. If someone thinks that you're being stubborn or you're being arrogant or you're being a know-it-all, let that be their issue. As long as you're not hurting anyone, listen, follow your heart. This is how we make achieving our goals harder than it has to be. We feel like we have to take a group with us. And there are times when, yes, do you want to have a group? That's what Power Up Nation is all about. This is for people who want to win. This is for people going to cheer each other on. This is also for people who are going to be honest with each other as they connect with one another, but not put each other down. But the other side to that coin is each person has their own calling, their own plan, their own direction. And so we don't all have to go in the same direction. We don't all have to think alike. Well, doesn't make sense. Think about that. If we all thought alike, then I'd probably be a doctor because I'd be thinking like perhaps all doctors. And the last thing in the world I want to be is a doctor, and I'm talking about a medical doctor. That is the last thing in the world that I want to be. Now, am I glad we have medical doctors? Absolutely. But that is so not my calling. So if we all have to think alike and be alike, then we'd all have the same occupation and the same callings in life. We are not all the same in that respect. So with that being said, I think I made my point. So with that being said, you guys, that is really all I have for you today on this magnificent Monday. It is still early in the year. I know you guys are up and running and making it happen, and you're reminding yourself to get in the mix anytime you want to be still. And I'm going to say this before I wrap up. I was listening to something, and I've heard this a couple of times this year, and I'm like, what is it that they all have a group where they all come out and say the same thing? They always say, well, pick one word. And I've seen this before. Pick one word that will inspire you. Pick one word that will cause you to keep going. And for me, I believe I could come up with a word, but I'm not trying to be like the rest of the class, and they talk about what psychiatrists say, and psychiatrists' studies have shown, and all of that could be 100% correct. But again, as I was saying a few moments ago, that we are not all the same, and the same thing does not inspire or create a spark or move everyone in the same direction or at the same time, or move them, period. So whereas one word would work for you, you can pick one word that would cause you to get back on track or boost your confidence when you start to convince yourself that you're not capable. You could pick that one word if that works for you. But for me, I like a theme and I like a phrase. And that's why it's get in the mix in 2026, because every time I say it, it excites me and it reminds me to get going and to make sure that my goals happen. I'm beginning with the end in mind, and the goals that I have this year are extremely big. So you guys, whatever you decide to do, come up with something that will cause you. It can be a phrase, it can be a theme, it can be one word. And as a matter of fact, you can have all three. You can have a theme for the year. You can have a phrase when you feel like you need a little extra boost, or you can come up with that one word, that buzzword that will cause you to make a shift when back in the right direction when you're going in the wrong direction. I used to use one word to, let's say, counter certain behaviors. for myself, within myself. I used to use one word, but while I used the word, eventually the word just reminded me of doing what I didn't want to do or saying what I didn't want to say. So I came up with a theme or a phrase that excited me, that caused my energy to go to another level. So whatever works for you, pick it, use it, and get on track and stay on track. You don't need to make goal achieving hard. As human beings, it's how we're built. We're built by design to win. So with that being said, I want you guys to do life with power, and I want you to have a magnificent day. Matter of fact, have a magnificent year. Oh, wait, I got a word. Magnificent. So I'll be back with more on designing your life today, tomorrow. For more information about the identity-powered goal setting masterclass and course, go to designingyourlifetoday.com or designingyourlifeachieversacademy.com. I look forward to seeing you guys there in our live masterclass. And of course, there are several modules that you can participate in, along with worksheets that you can download, and so much more.